Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Does Metal Have Soul podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I am here. I've just got to say the same thing. I just look at your hat, and I'm like my ghost-headed assistant.
No, you've got to come up with something else.
Nipple-headed assistant, Melisa Kelly.
Jesus, maybe we should go with ghost-headed.
Do ghosts have nipples?
No. Well, it depends. Why did they die? Was it a nipple-related accident? Or do you believe that all ghosts are sheets? Or do you believe it's like Beetlejuice and you still have the bits that you had?
There we go. Who knows? I don't know. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah?
Yes. I'm full of, is it piss and vinegar?
Uh-huh.
I'm full of piss and vinegar,
Yeah.
Which is kind of gross. And I wish it wasn't a saying. Yeah, I'm good. Did some reactions today. I did a reaction to Sleep Token's new single called Caramel. And Ghost's new single, Lacrima. I've said Lacrima. I don't know. But it was, the Ghost one was very good. It was very on brand.
Oh, shock horror. Melisa Kelly liked Ghost.
It was good. The Sleep Token one was okay. It was okay.
Oh, well, they'll be able to find those out on your
course.
channel.
How are you?
In due course. Yeah, I'm good. Been looking forward to doing this. We're recording a day early, actually, which is interesting. Or not interesting, depending on which way you look at it. I guess it depends on how boring your life is, whether you'd consider that to be interesting or not.
Listen, boring's the new exciting.
Yeah, okay, fine. This week we are going to be talking about thrash metal and Metallica. We're also changing up the show a little bit, actually quite significantly. We have decided to drop news stories in the show for several reasons. One, I had a glance and I didn't see any particularly great news stories this week.
A slow day for news.
Other than, like Ghost having a new record and things like that. And I'm like, shock horror, Mel wants to talk about Ghost. But
I want to talk about them. I mean, that's not true. I want to talk about them at length, but I want to talk about them at length face-to-face with someone who likes them too.
It's nice when you get to talk about news stories that are topical when you're engaging with an audience. But for the longevity of the show, we want people to be able to enjoy this episode 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Something with shelf life to it. Nope, shelf life is shortened life.
Don't ask me. I'm just a ghost-hatted woman trying to get through the day. I just work here. But I tell you what, I have been investigating.
Go on.
I've been doing investigations.
Oh no, don't spoil the YouTube video.
I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not. But I've been looking into thinking about other videos that I'd like to make for the channel.
Yes.
Some of which might actually have some longevity as far as that's concerned.
Yes.
In that they're more about music industry as a whole and different practices. It's been very exciting.
Yes.
Very interesting. I feel like Angela Lansbury. It's been great.
Well, we want to make the music industry a better place.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about metal music. So we would encourage anyone listening to the podcast now, if you have been enjoying the podcast after these 11 episodes, please do go and share it on social media. I just can't stress this enough. Leave a comment below. We have to drive up views and listens on this podcast, or it isn't going to last. No. We've already set a death date for it. We'll do the podcast for 6 months, which by my calculation is 26 episodes. So we're at the halfway point where we've kind of worked out we have to work out if it's viable or not. So if you want us to be around for a long time, you either need to listen to every episode 100 times or you need to tell some people about the show.
Listen to it 100 times?
Well, yeah.
That's like some kind of terrible waterboarding torture.
Yeah, it'll drive people crazy. But of course, we are going to be... I say we're not going to talk about news. We are going to talk about Giacomo Turra today. Well, that'd be fun.
How much am I allowed to swear?
As much as you like.
It's your fucking
channel.
Cunt.
We'll get to it. Let's start with Metalhead Musings.
Oh, Metalhead Musings, Christ, it's thrown me through a loop. We're doing things differently, and now my brain's like, but I've remembered how to do it the other way.
I've just learned how to do it the other way.
It's my first day, a bigger boy who told me how to do it. Okay, so we're starting off with Crawford W. Dow.
Yes.
Crawford's a new time commenter, but long time listener. And Crawford has said on the Iron Maiden podcast,
right,
I love the passion about trying to engage with people to raise the level of effort put in by people in grassroots music industry. One of the hardest parts about doing this is that the target audience for the message never realise you're talking about them. When you're talking about people's surprise that you actually are great, you're genuinely meaning it. They are genuinely meaning it as a compliment. Audiences half the time just expect bands will be terrible, and that's what they're used to. Love the podcast.
Yeah, good comment.
That made me laugh because you just know there's probably at least, and I don't think anyone that we know that we interact with, because I think most of the people we interact with who are musicians are some of the good boys. But and girls. But there's also, you better believe there's going to be people who'll watch something to do with our podcast and go, yeah, they're right, man. They're right. Well, if you excuse me, I'm going to get really high before I go to work when I don't try at all.
I have a music industry thing that I want to bring up, actually, on the podcast.
Sure.
We'll don't worry, more Metalhead Musings.
Yeah.
But just kind of in line with, gigs and how we want to make the music industry a better place. Do you know what doesn't make the music industry a better place?
What?
Let me read this post for you from our
no.
from our musicians wanted and available in Central Scotland.
Oh, God.
Gig available Saturday 17th of May, Glasgow. Looking for a third band to fill the bill. Saturday night gig, stereo, 17th of May.
Sorry to interrupt.
You know where this is going?
You mentioned the venue, because I know most of the venues in Glasgow. You mentioned stereo to me, but I know it's going to be a shit show. Continue.
Yes. We've hired the venue for a night of great original material and need a third band to finish the evening off. We'll provide a drum kit and most of the backline. Looking for a shared cost for the hire, so we've already printed tickets, etc. Cost will be £10 per ticket. You keep all of the money that you make on your sales. We'd be looking for £110 from you on the night to cover the hire of the venue and sound engineer. So everything you sell after 11 tickets is money for the band. This is fellow indie musicians coming along to make a night, not a separate promoter or profiteering. In summary, Saturday night gig, no need to shift the drum kit. Please get in touch if you're interested. I won't name who the band was. I'm opening up a restaurant.
Sure.
Would you like a job as waitstaff?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what you're going to do, I was going to pay you like £150 in wages for the night. Actually, that seems steep. I was going to pay you £80 in wages for the night. Actually, you pay me your wage cost, so I definitely don't lose anything. And then you can make tips from anybody that you bring for dinner that night. What do you think?
How will I feed my children?
Who the fuck cares?
I mean, do you know the crazy thing is, right? The crazy thing about this is I know that the people running this, who wrote this post, feel like they're giving someone a golden goose.
Yes, I'm going to bring up a picture of them just so you... for you.
So we can absolutely slander
just for you,
them.
not for them,
Okay.
just for you. So keep talking.
Thing is, right, Glasgow had a real problem at one point with pay-to-play promoters. It was a really big problem. And there was a couple of people, Vivian Scotstoun, wonderful musician, who stood out against it. In fact, Vivian Scotstoun got herself on the bill for one of the worst pay-to-play promoters. And then she did a protest in the middle of the gig. She explained over the mic. They ended up cutting her mic. It was very extravagant. And I was like, fucking A. But the problem with it is, we all as musicians collectively agreed it was dreadful, and then we just ignored doing anything about it. So some of the promoters just dissolved the company they had or deleted their Facebook page and then just created a new one. And unfortunately, they passed down their bad practices to young musicians who are like, we're just...
No. Not young musicians.
Oh, no.
So here's the thing, isn't it? So someone said, so pay to play then. When did time machines get invented and take us back to the 90s and early 2000s?
Preach.
No one took us back to the 90s or early 2000s. These motherfuckers are still from there.
They're still there. Do you know what it is? I look at these people and I go, oh, cool. So you were the people that were kicking around propping up pay-to-play promotion when it was rife in Glasgow, when literally there was people, and you know what the cruel thing is, and maybe it is cruel and maybe it's not, I don't know, you can tell me. There's a lot of people who, when I say things like, and I won't mention any artist names, I went to a gig once with an artist at King Tut's, and really fantastic artist, really talented. They had been promised if they did the gig, they would get a support slot with a much bigger band that would, of course, thingy their career, but they needed to pay a certain amount of their ticket sales to the promoter, to the tune of £350. Now, there's some people who'll go, you get what you fucking get, tough titties. And I say, well, yes and no, because at the end of the day, that person was in a position where they're like, well, what do I do to compete? I don't know what to do to compete anymore. And I really do want to get a big support slot, which, FYI, they did not get.
Yeah, because it didn't exist.
Because it didn't exist. And
that same promise was made to, 20 bands.
Yeah. And it just, it boils my blood because it's the same people. It's the same people in Scotland, Central Belt Scotland. It is the same people who have been driving the music scene of Scotland, the country, into the ground for the past 40, 50 years. Yeah. And the worst of it is that they still exist. A lot of them are a lot better off for it. And you're looking around the Scottish music scene and you're going, it's fucked. Venues are closing. Any venues who put live music on get a bad rep immediately, and then they stop doing it because of these people.
I savaged them a little bit, I said,
Oh, you did?
what an amazing opportunity. You can't just check notes, pay money to just play in any old venue.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't an opportunity.
It's not an opportunity.
If I want to spend money, I can book any venue I fucking want. I went on to point out, like, why would you split the cost of the venue equally as well? Like, if I'm the opening band, why am I paying as much as the headline? You're going to be playing to more people.
Yeah.
So we know the answer to that. The reason is because this is an opportunity for us, isn't it? This is an opportunity to be seen by more people. So really what you're saying is you're paying for some exposure here. You're paying, that's it. You're offering exposure. But
there's a reason people die of exposure.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Stereo as a venue can suck a bag of dicks, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
They used to run Queer Theory, which is a long-time musician friend of mine, Dean. He runs basically a fucking movement at this point called Queer Theory. It's a good laugh. Some of it's shit, some of it's great. No, for real though. Some of it I've seen, I'm like, this is shit, Dean. But some of it I've seen, I'm like, this is gay joy, and I'm absolutely here for it. But the fact is, Stereo at one point, who are making a packet off of Dean, tried to basically said, you either choose to take off some of the people who are on your bill, or we will cancel you forever. And Dean stuck by his guns and it's like, absolutely not. So they basically cancelled one of the most liberal left people in the fucking world for platforming white supremacists. Not even close to fucking true.
Yeah.
And I just look at Stereo like that and I'm like, so hang on a second. You're willing to stick by your fucking guns to cut off your nose to spite your own face on something like platforming a drag queen who apparently said something racist, apparently at some point fucking months ago, but you're not prepared to stand by your guns on people doing pay-to-play promotion in your venue, taking money from the pockets of the poorest fucking people. You hypocritical fucking cunts. I'm sorry to sound so angry about it, but it does make me angry.
That's our industry.
I can't stand the hypocrisy of we want to be seen as these left liberal, incredibly protest-filled fuckfaces, but we're never actually going to protest anything real because we're actually a bunch of very middle to upper class kids who've never experienced suffering, and we just like to have it on our Instagram post that we deplatformed a fucking white supremacist.
Also, it's just bad business to be like, we're going to hire this venue out to 3 bands for £330. Like, justify that. More people would go out to bars for live music if the live music was always going to be good, and the drinks were going to be good, and the atmosphere was going to be good. So bars would make more money. But how do you make the music, good? Well, you create this situation where only professionals can do it, not somebody who's willing to fucking do stupid shit like that so they can get in a venue. I cannot remember the last time I needed to pay a venue to play in it, because we won't do that, because we're good enough to not need to do that.
Yeah, well over 15 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
It's tragic, but you know what? He'll slap it into them, as my granny would say, because the Scottish music scene as a whole will continue to fall apart at the seams, to the point where the only live music that you'll actually be able to see is overpaying to listen to bad sound in the hydro. And I will laugh wholeheartedly. I might be penniless, but I'll laugh.
Bridge.
Absolutely. I will be a bridge troll and I'll be fine with it, because it's like, you made your shitty bed, you bunch of whores, now lie in it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Does Metal Have Soul podcast. Right, so allow me to tell you a story about Giacomo Turra, the jackass.
Oh, dear.
No, I didn't make a video about Giacomo Turra on my channel, despite constantly being called a drama whore. It's mainly Giacomo Turra fans, I could have made a video and it would have got loads of clicks and I would have made some money on it, but that's not the content I make. Again, back to Steelers Reels comment, what I do is education. I've done it for as long as I have because I'm good at what I do, and I don't want to give people like that ammunition to say, to say the only reason I'm successful is because of drama with other people. It's just simply not the case. But does this count because it's on your channel?
It absolutely does not count. No. Go forth.
Some of you guys may know Giacomo Turra, the Italian guitar player, very popular on Instagram, very popular for the kind of TikTok short form content, does like hyper produced arrangements of pop tunes, funky soul type thing. He's a fraud. He's a a shyster. I didn't realise how well his career was going, or I might have stepped in and done something about it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 years ago, we caught him stealing people's arrangements of things, passing them off as his own, and selling tabs for them on his website. So, I confronted Giacomo like 5 years ago, and he fell apart like a child. And I have the screenshots, so I'm going to send them to Melisa, and she can edit in what she wants.
Receipts?
He begged us not to make a video about him, and he begged to not take legal action. He acknowledged that he had been selling transcriptions of things that weren't his. He acknowledged that he'd been taking arrangements that weren't his and not crediting them, and said he would credit them moving forward. And then we approached him again a couple of weeks later when another video went up, and it was one of Jack Gardner's videos, and there was no credit on it again. And we had enough conversation with him, and I actually want these screenshots to go out, right? Because I went through these expecting myself to come across like angry Levi from 5 years ago, and I'm much more mellow now. Much more mellow than I was back then.
You are?
Yeah, much more mellow now.
Jesus.
But you know what? Actually, I want people to see these screenshots because I come across like a saint in them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Have I seen them?
No, maybe. I don't know. I come across like a saint in these, I think, because anyone who reads these, it's so blatantly apparent that I am not trying to attack him at all. There's no part of me that's like, I'm going to fucking get you. It was, calm down, it's fine. Like, he was panicking and, like, you know, saying he was getting really upset, like he was being extorted by the mob, you know. And I'm over here being like, dude, it's totally fine. Like, everything's going to be fine. Your career's not over. Like, I promise you, we can make good out of this. I won't make a video about this. Like, you're not the issue here. The issue is with the pages that promote your stuff. That's who I really take issue with and what I'm trying to deal with. This will be fine. Like, you want to be peers with these people that you're taking arrangements from. You want them to not look up to you, but think of you as peers. You want them to respect you, and like, this isn't the way to do that. But it's fine. You know, I can introduce you to a bunch of these people, and rather than, you know, being on the outside stealing content and trying to build a career for yourself, we can welcome you into the community, and you can be one of us, sort of thing. So I just assumed that he'd learned his lesson, but unfortunately he didn't learn his lesson.
Because they never fucking do.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing that nobody's talked about with Giacomo. He's not a very good player. He's just simply not a very good player.
People don't know that.
It's so wild to me.
It's bonkers to me.
And it's because so many people like that, they never ever do live stuff. Mm-hmm. And the live stuff they do is so controlled. You know, it has to be on the stage that I want to do, and it's got to be with my band, and I've got to have all my audio set up. And these are ways that you can massage things to make them appear better than they are. You can use backing tracks and things like that. But the places that you can't get away with that is when you have to play live with other musicians in jam context. So like the NAMM show type thing.
So embarrassing. You showed me footage of the NAMM jam.
Yeah.
The NAMM Jam-a-Lama Ding Dong, and I watched it. Correction, I didn't actually watch it. I listened to it from across the room, and I listened to it passively, and then I looked up and I was like, is that Giacomo that you're, and he like, yeah. And people were whooping in the video. People were like, yeah, and I'm like, are your ears painted on?
Yeah. I want to be able to post more clips, right? But the more I find and the more I share them with people, like in the DMs, and we laugh about them behind the scenes, the more negative comments appear on them, and then the brands that have posted them delete them. There was a really, really funny video of him playing some ZZ Top at the Seymour Duncan booth, right. And it's fucking awful. Like, it's so objectively bad. Well, okay, actually, I'm being really unkind there. It's not awful. It's intermediate level guitar player. Right. It's fucking awful compared to what he presents himself as. So It's the catfishing of it all, right? This aspect hasn't really been covered. Like Danny Sapko, great YouTuber, made a video exposing or making fun of how bad his performances were. And I didn't realise how big his career had got because I've kind of withdrawn from that whole online scene because I hate the fakery on it. It doesn't interest me anymore. And I just posted a comment in the YouTube comments pointing out, oh, fuck this guy. Like, he's a thief. He steals people's arrangements, and that's what people should really be talking about. And that was it. Nothing. Mm-hmm. That was all I did. But Danny Sapko read that comment and then went and did a week's worth of research into the thing that I've been saying, and then completely outed Giacomo in a video. It was glorious, and Giacomo essentially doesn't have a career anymore.
It was so good that I don't need to eat for the rest of the week. I am full on that tasty, tasty snack.
Yeah. I wish it would go further. I wish people would do more about it because it's still not right. And there's still we can't take away the fact that he opened for George Benson. We'll never be able to take that away from him. He could be a homeless man on the street and he'll still always be able to go, I got to open for George Benson though. You know what I mean?
I think for me, that stuff's annoying. The idea that he opened for Wolfpack is really annoying. But I think for me, as a creative and a musician, the thing that bothers me the most is when we watch Danny's video, which was a great video, and Danny makes me laugh so much. There's a certain kind of English accent I fuck with really hard, and Danny's accent is one of them. But it's like the very small creators with 57 views on their video, like, you just know that those people that Giacomo ripped off, and you talked about one of them, saw what it did with Giacomo at the front, knowing it was theirs, and just thought, oh, this is so soul destroying. Yeah. I'm going to need to take a week off.
Oh, this has got 300,000 views, but it only got 57 on my channel. And soul destroying for people like that. Because then it's like, oh, shall I keep making music for this to just happen again?
Absolutely. And that's so dangerous and horrible. And what Giacomo has done is so gross and deceitful. And like, I don't know much about the guitar community, the online or in person, in real life, whatever guitar community. But it appears to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears to me that quite a lot of people seem to get away with, and everybody knows, quite a lot of people get away with very shitty behaviour. And the ones who call them out on it, it seems like they seem to get more backlash and negative attitude.
Yeah, I've got a shit ton of backlash in my life exposing people. And it's because they think that the reason I'm doing it is for clout.
You're jealous.
Yeah, or jealousy. Yeah, they love jealousy.
I get that a lot on my channel. Like
my career is good. I would not trade my career with any of these people. I make good money from what I do. It's enough to support me and my family, and so there's just no jealousy. It's a sense of doing the right thing. You know, it's a sense of trying to make the world a better place, not allowing it to become a worse place. But unfortunately, people who consume content, they actually don't care about things like authenticity. So you watch a Giacomo video and it's like, I'm telling you, he doesn't sound anything like that in the room. It doesn't sound anything like that in the room. You're building such a pathetic house of cards for yourself by doing that, because what are you going to do when you have to stand up and play with people?
Well, it's kind of like, you know, I can only go on it from a singer's point of view. There's plenty of singers I've known who do things like learn an air scat solo for practice, but also to show that they can do it.
That is good practice.
Absolutely, it is.
It will teach you a lot about phrasing.
Absolutely. It'll teach you a lot of things. It'll instinctually teach you a lot of things. It'll actually make you a better improviser. And sometimes, you will quote something that Elle has done.
Yeah, of course.
But it's such a different thing. And I think the thing that makes me sad is that the reason that someone like Giacomo gets to exist now is because we've quite a bit moved away from the social media platforms we had, and now we're more in a TikTok place.
Yes.
Now, if there's one thing I know about TikTok, I know you don't ever go on TikTok. You've got your account that you put stuff on. I have curated a TikTok that's mostly about dogs and cake. Shocker, I know, looking at me, you think it would be something far more complex. But the one thing that I've noticed on TikTok is theft of creative content and passing it off, not just passing it off as your own, but trying to monetize it on your own behalf is rampant, and it's quite horrifying actually. And unfortunately, it's got to a point on TikTok that because it's so rife, because it's so many, people just accept it now. People fully accept, this
you should just be grateful. You should be grateful that someone's using your art, because now people get to hear it.
Absolutely. And I think
I'll remember that when I can't pay my gas bill.
It's so sad to me. It's so sad. But wasn't it just the natural step? We've already devalued music to the point we're not prepared to pay anything over a $7.99 subscription a month, even if we're not getting somebody else to pay for it. The next natural step is, all art is owned by everybody. Why shouldn't it? I do think Giacomo is a shyster and a shithead, and he absolutely did it knowing the fact that he went looking for people with small followings to be inspired by. Get fucked. You did that knowing that small creator had not a leg to come back at you at, and you knew that you could pass that shit off as your own.
Because for the longest time, I'd forgot when I actually initially confronted him, it was publicly on Instagram, and he deleted my comments, and then he blocked me on Instagram.
Oh!
So he didn't want, please, you're exposing me. Like, I don't want to be caught, and that's just always the MO of dirty little shysters like that, thieves like that. They do underhand things, and when I look at him, it's like he doesn't have any creative skills. He stole his creative skills from people that could write better arrangements. He doesn't have any playing skills because he, records things at slow tempos and speeds them up. I am relatively confident in a lot of aspects, uses MIDI audio and reamps it. And, I could go down why, I could explain why, I could show you why, but no one cares. But also, this is a really sad one. He pretends that he can transcribe. Because what he says is, well, I just found these really cool arrangements and they inspire me so much that I sit and I transcribe them and then I do arrangement, I cover them and then I have the transcriptions to sell, and it's like, I'm sorry, but the stuff that you're transcribing is of such a decent standard musically that there's no way that you can transcribe the stuff that you're transcribing and not become a good player doing it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I'd call him out on that. I'd be like, "Oh, you transcribed all this, did you? Awesome. Let's do a live stream together, and we'll both transcribe music live. Yeah, and you show us your skills of transcribing, because
I wouldn't even want to play the C major scale next to you in a live stream. I'm not a good enough musician. Sorry, goodbye."
Yeah, I think he's paid someone else to do transcriptions of things for him.
It wouldn't surprise me in the coming weeks and months if something like that came out.
It will never come out because people are like, "Oh, we're done with it now.
I'm
we'll
glad.
Just move on."
I'm really glad. But the thing that I think over the whole overarching thing, I understand why there's musicians who were robbed, who were bigger than the small creators who didn't, because like you say, politics, and it's off-brand for them to create a video where they're basically being like, "You stole from me." I do understand that, but we need to, as humans and internet dwellers, decide what we actually want. Do we actually want honesty from people? And do we actually want people to call out each other and to learn from that? Or do we just want to float through the internet and not be challenged at any point? Because the fact is, people giving you shit for calling out others and their bad behaviour when it comes to music. Forget, if you were calling out people on something that you yourself are really dreadful at, then okay, fair enough. But
I'm calling people out on their playing. I'm not a world-class player.
Yeah, but you're calling out people for doing things like thieving and misrepresenting with the intention of monetizing that shit, stealing. I find it fascinating. I find it so fascinating. It's the same with reaction type things as well. A lot of people really resist me. They resist me and they call me all kinds of dreadful things and tell me what a terrible fat shithead I am, because I'll turn around and go, "I don't like this particular thing." And it's like, we need to decide. Do we want honesty or do we want baby food? And if you want baby food, don't complain when Giacomo comes into your fucking music and steals loads of shit. Do you know what I mean?
We're going to move on from this, but don't let him forget it. Don't let him claw his way back into this industry. He made an apology video.
Pembridge Farm never forgets.
He didn't actually apologise in his video. He just justified why he did the things he did. There are far too many talented musicians out there to allow someone like this to be in the industry. There are far too many talented musicians out there who don't make a living to allow someone like this to make a living. So anytime you see him, call him out. Anytime. Stomp this slimy little grease ball. Stomp this slimy meatball out.
Yeah, because he will try and find another way to sleaze his way back in.
I will say this though, to Giacomo. I bet you wish you listened to me 5 years ago, didn't you?
Oh girl.
What can I say except you're welcome?
I would say that. Motherfucker got a chance. Literally, someone went, "FYI, what you're doing's wrong. Maybe you should stop it, save face, and continue on building a career where you support George fucking Benson, you tool." And then he was so arrogant as to go, "I'm just going to pretend that I'm really upset and continue stealing."
Okay.
Seriously.
Right, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about thrash metal, and we're going to talk about Metallica specifically. And we're going to, coming 4 weeks, we're going to go through the big four of thrash. You don't know who they are, I would assume. Who are the big four of thrash? Look at me, don't look at the screen.
Metallica.
Yes.
Slayer.
Yes.
Anthrax.
Yes.
Megadeth.
Yes. She must have read that off the screen.
I didn't. I had to learn about the big four because when I was doing them on the channel and everyone was talking about, well, you need to do the big four now. And it was after I did Megadeth, I think.
Okay.
Ha ha!
Well done. Ha! That's good. So we're going to do those over the next few weeks. And some other bands will come in as well because thrash is something that I enjoy. It's, to me, growing up, when people said metal, that's
metal.
This is what they meant. They meant thrash music.
Right, okay.
For me, that is what metal is or was.
Sure.
And of course, we're just constantly discussing metal means different things to different people. There's going to come a time 30 years from now where people will listen to these thrash bands and they'll be like, that's not metal. You know what I mean? Because it's not extreme enough.
Yeah, but then that might well be the case. But then, what do you think the future is? What's going to be intense enough?
Completely dystopian. The only artist you're going to be able to listen to is Giacomo Turra as he steals every song that...
as he just plays an auto-tuned queef.
Yeah.
And is like, jazz.
So so thrash is something that I grew up on. I really enjoyed a lot of the thrash stuff, big influence on me. These last couple of weeks have been big for me because, we did Malmsteen last week, which was neoclassical and shred, very much a big part of my youth. And the early thrash stuff, big part of my youth as well. Yeah. So I love all of this stuff. We're going to, like I say, do Metallica today.
I love that for you. Can I ask a quick question?
I'm sorry
to interrupt. See, when we get to the end of the 6-month period,
yes,
and I've learned lots of things about metal,
yes,
can we do a Does Metal Have Soul switcheroo, where basically I pick something to tell you about that you
soul
don't know
music
about? Yeah, or Tom Waits.
Well, you're really talking about a different podcast there, aren't you?
Does soul have metal?
Does soul have soul? You would hope so.
Well, Levi listened to Tom Waits with me for an hour and a half.
Definitely not. Okay, so we'll start just by looking at the wiki page for thrash metal. So thrash metal, or simply thrash, is an extreme subgenre of heavy metal music, characterized by its overall aggression and fast tempos. Songs usually use fast percussive beats, low register guitar riffs, overlaid with shredding style lead guitar work. Genre emerged in the early 1980s as musicians began fusing the double bass drumming and complex guitar stylings of the new wave of British heavy metal, the good old nwobum.
Nwobum!
Yes, with the speed and aggression of hardcore punk and the technicality of progressive rock. Philosophically, thrash metal developed as a backlash against both the conservatism of the Reagan era and the much more moderate pop-influenced and widely accessible heavy metal subgenre of glam metal, which actually we haven't touched on.
Who would be considered glam
Alice
metal?
Cooper.
Fuck yes. We have to do glam metal next week.
Of course. But also, what Ozzy would come is pretty glam at times, and it's hair and, it's...
It's hair, it's makeup, it's...
Do you know what it actually is? And this is... I've never really considered this.
What?
It's not testosterone-driven metal.
Okay. So this is what I was talking about in my new reaction to Ghost. Okay. And I don't mind saying it here because, let's be fair, all the people who will click on the Ghost video, almost all of them will not come and watch the podcast. But I think there should be another subgenre of metal music.
Right.
And it should be called theatre metal.
Okay.
And it's not testosterone driven. It's driven by theatrical performance. Mm-hmm. It's driven by makeup. It's driven by...
That's difficult though, because you're talking about that's an aesthetic thing rather than a sound.
Yes.
So you could have bands that sound dramatically different, but then say, well, it's theatrical metal. Yeah, but this one's a theatrical... your problem with that is all black metal is theatrical metal.
I disagree.
So, thinking about it, I think that to be a counterculture to glam metal is another way of saying that is thrash metal is driven by testosterone. It's, we make music for men. We make hard, fast music. Yeah, so early thrash metal movement revolved around independent record labels, including Megaforce, Metal Blade, Combat, Roadrunner, and Noise. Underground tape trading industry in Europe and North America. Genre was commercially successful from 85 through to 91, bringing prominence to Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, and Anthrax, all grouped together as the Big Four of US thrash metal. Other bands such as Overkill, Metal Church, Nuclear Assault, Flotsam and Jetsam, and Bay Area acts like Exodus, Testament, and Death Angel never achieved the same level of success as the Big Four, but also developed a strong following in the metal community through MTV, Headbangers Ball, or otherwise. And of course, international thrash metal bands, Sepultura, Voivod, Annihilator.
Oh, I've heard Voivod.
Yeah. Coroner, Onslaught, the German Big Four, Creator, Destruction, Sodom, and Tankard. So there's a lot of bands here. It declined in popularity in the mid-90s due to commercial success of numerous genres such as alternative rock, grunge, and later pop punk and nu metal. In response, some bands either disbanded or moved away from their thrash metal roots and more towards groove metal or alternative metal. The genre has seen a resurgence of popularity since the 2000s with the arrival of various bands such as Bonded by Blood, Evil, Hatchet, Havoc, Lamb of God, Municipal Waste, and Warbringer, who've all been credited for leading the so-called thrash metal revival. I think Lamb of God are one of the best metal bands in the world.
I've only done them once on the channel, and I was dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire. Which, is a sentence I don't think I'd ever say.
Yeah.
But I did.
So that's thrash. Now, what do you know about Metallica?
I know that there's someone in the band called Lars Ulrich.
Okay, yep, fair.
I know that they had either an album or a song called Some Kind of Monster.
Okay. No, none of that is true. Oh, and they may have a song called Some Kind of Monster, actually. That's a documentary.
Oh, okay, is that what it is? Okay. I know that most of the people, if not all the people I have met in my life who love Metallica are boring arseholes. If I'm completely honest, fair. That is true. Hashtag not all, because there have been people I've met with Metallica who like Metallica and also, have a brain in their head. But I don't know much. I have done them on the channel once.
What did you do?
It was one of their new tunes. I can't remember the name, and that tells you what you need to know. It was very dull, but it was
You have to remember
modern.
that I Am the Table comes from Metallica.
No way. Yeah. I Am the Table.
Because it's a lyric.
Also...
Does that suddenly mean you like them?
No.
Jesus!
I'm going to fit it in again. Also, my sister... Victoria.
Yep.
My sister Victoria was obsessed with the Black Album.
Okay. But that's when Metallica got shit.
She was fucking obsessed. Okay. I don't know why, because the other things that Vicky listened to at the time was Lionel Richie. Was like I'm not outing her here because she would admit it. Lionel Richie and Curtis Stigers. Okay.
I'm going to have to send Vicky a message and be like, I hear that you really enjoy the Black Album. I might even buy a copy of it on CD for her.
My sister is the poster child of undiagnosed female autism.
It's interesting though, right? Because you have demonstrated a knowledge of Metallica there because you've said the Black Album.
Yeah, because
Metallica don't have an album called the Black Album.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't. It's called Metallica. It's a self-titled album.
Oh, I just remember it was black and it had like a curly snake on it.
But everyone calls it the Black Album because the cover art was just black.
Yeah. I don't remember. I think I remember do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, but other than that, it's all just,
all right, well, let me tell you some stuff.
Sunshine, lollipops and rainbows.
Metallica is a heavy metal band. It was formed in Los Angeles in 1981 by vocalist and guitarist James Hetfield and drummer Lars Ulrich. So you didn't say James Hetfield, but I assume you know James Hetfield.
Yeah, I do know James Hetfield.
Based in San Francisco for most of its career, band's fast tempos, instrumentals and aggressive musicianship make them one of the founding members of the Big Four of thrash metal alongside blah blah blah, you get the idea. Metallica's current lineup comprises of founding members and primary songwriters Hetfield and Ulrich, long-time lead guitarist Kirk Hammett and bassist Robert Trujillo. Guitarist Dave Mustaine, who formed Megadeth after being fired from Metallica.
I forgot about
information
that
you knew that, yeah, and he, he's totally got over it. He's all right about it.
I knew he was a better Betty before I knew anything else about him.
Bassist Ron McGovney, Cliff Burton, and Jason Newsted are former members of the band.
McGovney's a fucking great name.
Yeah. So let's just go for the first record. So, formed in Los Angeles in '81, Lars Ulrich placed an advert in the Los Angeles newspaper The Recycler, which read, "Drummer looking for other metal musicians to jam with: Tigers of Pang Tang, Diamond Head, and Iron Maiden." So I did mention Tigers of Pang Tang.
I was about to say, I remember Tigers of Pantang. It's hard for me to say.
And Iron Maiden being an influence.
Yeah.
So, because of course, the band name came from Ulrich's friend Ron Quintana, who was brainstorming names for a fanzine and was considering Metal Mania or Metallica. After hearing the two names, Ulrich wanted the latter for his band, so he suggested Quintana use Metal Mania instead.
Metal Mania?
Yeah. Dave Mustaine replied to an advertisement for a lead guitarist. Ulrich and Hetfield recruited him after seeing his expensive guitar equipment.
Always a good idea.
Yeah. Metallica recorded its first original song, "Hit the Lights," for the Metal Massacre 1 compilation. I haven't put "Hit the Lights" on my playlist, but I think you should probably hear it.
Okay.
Fair?
Sure. Why not? Is it like, is this song going to sound like, hit the lights, do-do-do, hit the lights, do-do-do, hit the lights so we can kiss?
You're doing that. That's your prediction of what the song sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is "Hit the Lights." What are you hearing there?
It feels very feral. The mix is sort of like noob. James Hetfield sounds like he is 12.
Yeah, very young.
But it's still quite cool. It's quite punky almost.
Very punky.
And I think that some of the hits and things are really cool. Yeah, I liked it. Even though it felt feral, because some of the things that we've listened to that have been badly recorded in feral, you can't get past how badly recorded they are, or you can't get past the choices of mix and all the rest of it. But with this one, it's like, oh yeah, if someone gave this to me on a tape, and this was like a new thing, blah, 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 yeah, I would be like, this is great.
One thing that stands out to me in there is, they talk about progressive rock being an influence. Did you spot anything progressive about it? So I'm going to play the chorus just one more time, right?
Oh, okay.
Tap along to it.
Oh, okay.
It's da 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 ba 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 ba. It's a time signature change there.
So that's cool.
Which is,
I didn't actually notice it. So
and that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
Time signature changes are things that you should feel but not notice.
You better tell Tool. You better phone Tool and be like, guys.
Yeah.
Your time changes make everyone seasick.
Yeah. Interestingly, this is the Metallica article, but they're talking about thrash metal. The term thrash metal was coined by Kerrang journalist Malcolm Dome in reference to the Anthrax song "Metal Thrashing Mad." Prior to this, Hetfield referred to Metallica sound as power metal.
I don't think that's a misrepresentation.
Yeah. So Cliff Burton is the bass player that you heard on that. Cliff joined the band before the first album was recorded, and Dave Mustaine was ejected by that point. Obviously, big issues surrounding that whole thing, which Dave didn't take all that well. But on the plus side, he did go on and form Megadeth, who are, in my opinion, the greatest thrash band of all time. So. Also,
there's surely arguments to be made that the Megadeth contribution to metal music as a whole is better than the contribution Metallica made.
Say that again.
That the contribution that Megadeth made artistically to the genre of metal is actually better than the contribution.
I would argue that, but commercially, no, not even close.
Okay.
Metallica are infinitely more successful than Megadeth. Unfortunately, but that's just the way that one is. They're opening for Disturbed, aren't they?
Boo! Boo!
A little bit about Mustaine here, though. Mustaine, who went on to form Megadeth, has expressed his dislike for Hammett's playing in interviews, saying Hammett stole his job. Mustaine was pissed off because he believed Kurt Hammett became popular by playing lead guitar that Mustaine had actually written, which is true, to be fair. If you listen to the Mustaine demos of these tunes, and then you listen to Kirk Hammett playing the solos, he's playing the solos that Mustaine played.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
But he's gone on to, do his own thing.
Yeah.
So in an 85 interview with Metal Forces, Mustaine said, "It's real funny how Kirk Hammett ripped off every lead break that I'd played on that No Life Till Leather tape, got voted #1 guitarist in your magazine. Megadeth's debut album, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, Mustaine included the song Mechanics, which Metallica had previously reworked and retitled The Four Horsemen on Kill 'Em All, which I was going to put as the track that we listened to from Kill 'Em All because that's a great tune. But we are not doing that. So anyway, he said this to let's try that again. Mustaine said he did this to straighten Metallica up because Metallica referred to Mustaine as a drunk and said that he could not play the guitar. Now, to be fair, Dave Mustaine can't play the guitar. He compared to the guitar players that he's hired, Dave Mustaine, the reason Megadeth are so great is because Dave Mustaine has consistently hired the best guitar players in the world to come in and be his second guitar player. In the same way that James Hetfield, he's like one of the great rhythm players, but like James Hetfield's he can't solo.
No.
Dave Mustaine plays better solos than James Hetfield, but still, when Dave Mustaine solos, you're like, oh, fucking hell, hand it over to the other guy.
Damn.
Anyway, so because of conflicts with the record label and the distributor's refusal to release an album titled Metal Up Your Ass, which is what they wanted to call it.
Fantastic.
The album was renamed to Kill 'Em All, which
I
somehow
prefer
is okay.
Metal Up Your Ass.
Yeah. It was released on Megaforce Records in the US, Music Nations for Europe. Peaked at number 115. 115. I can't speak. So, and to give you a idea of context, to support the release, Metallica embarked on the Kill 'Em All for One tour with Raven in February '84. Metallica supported the band Venom.
Oh, Venom. We've listened to them.
We've listened to Venom, so it gives you an idea of where they were in terms of the size of a band. So I'm going to pick a track from that first album, Kill 'Em All.
Okay.
We're going to listen to the track Seek and Destroy.
Okay.
Which is a good tune.
Okay.
All of these are good tunes.
I believe you.
All right, thoughts on Seek and Destroy?
I
actually don't like this era of Metallica. The first album.
It's
they've not quite worked out to be heavy at this point.
Yeah, it's a little tiny bit bland for me.
Yeah,
I do quite like the riff at the beginning. I was like, oh, we're fucking in for it, and then I was like, oh, okay, we're not. We're just in for a gentle hug, and that's not really what we're after. Does James Hetfield always double his vocals?
Does a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it sounds really cool, but unfortunately, sometimes when he's really pitchy in some of this recording, it's a bit like, huh. Otherwise, yeah, why not? It's newer.
It's punky to me.
Sure, it's very the
it's
recordings. Yeah. It's not offensive enough for me to not like it, but it's a tiny bit like, yeah. But they're baby
yeah,
new,
of course. And they're trying to work out what their sound is.
And for sure, and you know what? I'll never shit on. I wouldn't even shit on someone nowadays when they have a huge history of music to look at and go, oh, I can be like this, I can be like that. And I'm especially not going to give Metallica, who are literally at the beginning of a genre.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So the next album is Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning.
We're going to be listening to the song Creeping Death. So how's that one go again?
Creeping Death.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think that's exactly it, actually. You might be in the wrong key, but I think the basic...
In the key of Z flat.
Yes. So Ride the Lightning, they start to sort of... they get their sound. They've worked out what it is that they're doing. It's not... I don't think Metallica fans are going to say it's peak Metallica. They're going to say the next album is that.
Sure.
But they certainly worked out what their sound is. So Elektra Records director Michael Alago and co-founder of Q Prime Management Cliff Bernstein attended a Metallica concert in September 1984. They were impressed with the performance, signed Metallica to Elektra, and made the band a client of Q Prime Management. Metallica's growing success was such that the band's British label Music for Nations released Creeping Death as a limited edition single, which sold 40,000 copies as an import in the US. Two of the three songs on the record, cover versions of Diamond's Head, Am I Evil, and Blitzkrieg, appeared on the '88 Elektra reissue of Kill 'Em All. Metallica embarked on their first major European tour with Tank to an average crowd of 1,300. Returning to the US, it embarked on a co-headlining tour with Wasp.
Wasp, I've heard Wasp. I did not enjoy it.
Not We Are Sexual Predators.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're certainly building popularity. I like this song because we're gonna listen to this right until the bridge, the heavy part. I've played you this before, but I play you a lot of stuff. I'm sure you don't remember these things.
No.
But I remember my friend Manny telling me seeing Metallica. I don't think it was on the Creeping Death tour, on the Ride the Lightning tour. I think he said it was the Master of Puppets tour. But they played this, and he was in the balcony for a show in New York, and he said he thought the balcony was going to come down when the whole audience was shouting "Die, die, die" during the song
Jesus.
because they were stamping so hard. Anyway, so this is Creeping Death. This is cool. Ready?
Ready.
We'll stop there.
Oofed.
Thoughts?
Yeah, that one, I enjoyed that one more. The lyrics are interesting. I do so love when someone decides to write a song where they're just writing the song through the vision or language of someone else in some other part of time or space. I'm assuming that song was about Moses.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. You wouldn't necessarily have known that if you hadn't looked at the lyrics, because the articulation's not the best.
Yep.
But yeah, there was some cool different sections to that. I could have actually done without the guitar solo, if I'm honest. But yeah, and James Hetfield seems like he's more comfortable in his voice. He's got quite a sort of like rah, rah. His tongue placement's weird. Like his tongue placement is really like flat and back, which is strange. I wonder why that was a choice and what his influences are to make him that way. I'm going to have a wee think about that one. It'll probably be quite difficult because I doubt very much any of that's in a roots place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed that one.
So yeah, I like that record. The next record is Master of Puppets, and this is I think most fans are going to tell you they're the best album.
Okay.
The third studio album, Master of Puppets, recorded in Sweet Silence Studios, September to December 1985, released in March 86. So
86, good year.
A little bit older than you. The album reached number 29 on the Billboard 200, spent 72 weeks on the chart. I was going to listen to the track Master of Puppets from this album. Great tune, but it's long. It's like 8 minutes long.
I don't have the
Very
energy.
prog. Like lots and lots of section changes, lots of things happening, Great tune. Had a huge resurgence in popularity recently because it was featured in its entirety in Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
As in, like, literally someone plays it on the guitar.
The whole thing?
Song, the whole thing, yeah.
How did they even work that in? How does that work?
I've not watched it all, so...
Ah.
We won't get there yet, though. So, September 27th, 86, during the European leg of Metallica's Damage Inc. tour, members drew cards to determine which bunks on the tour bus they would sleep in. Burton won and chose to sleep in Kirk Hammett's bunk. At around sunrise, near Dorap, Sweden, the bus driver lost control, skidded, which caused the bus to overturn several times. Ulrich, Hammett and Hetfield sustained no serious injuries. However, Burton was pinned under the bus and died.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So Hetfield said, I saw the bus lying right on him. I saw his legs sticking out. I freaked. The bus driver, I recall, was trying to yank the blanket out from under him to use for other people. I just went, don't fucking do that. I already wanted to kill the bus driver. I don't know if he was drunk or if he'd hit some ice. All I knew was he was driving and Cliff wasn't alive anymore.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy shitballs.
Yeah, definitely a hard one for them to overcome, which we'll talk about when we talk about the next record. But he was definitely like a big part of the band's sound.
Yeah.
So much so, actually, I will do it. He on the Kill 'Em All album, he has there's a track called Anesthesia Pulling Teeth, which is this. I'll stop there. You get the idea.
Sure.
Thoughts?
Yeah, that was really cool. I like the acoustic part at the start. I think the harmony on that was really nice. Again, very sort of like feverish, but obviously not in the way the original one was that we listened to.
Yes.
Because they've obviously figured out their sound. I don't know why. I don't know how James Hetfield's doing that rhythm and singing at the same time.
Yeah.
As someone who plays, granted, bash and rhythm guitar and sings at the same time, it is really hard to split your brain to do those things. But I guess I'm doing something maybe that's slightly more technical. But yeah, it's good. I'm not gonna lie. Currently, I'm not like, oh my god, this is the most amazing music ever.
No, nor should you be. I don't feel that way about it.
Okay.
But I think in the context of the other metal music that we've listened to from that era, can you see why it might have been popular?
Oh, absolutely. Like, there's never part of me that listens to any of this and goes, I don't understand why it's popular. Like, even black metal, it's not for me. It can go directly in the bin, but I do understand why the kind of people that will listen to it and go, oh no, I like this.
So moving on to And Justice for All. So Burton's death left Metallica's future in doubt. The three remaining members decided Burton would want them to carry on. And with the Burton family blessings, the band sought after a replacement. Roughly 40 people, including Hammett's childhood friend, Les Claypool of Primus, Troy Gregory of Prong, and Jason Newsted, formerly of Flotsam and Jetsam, auditioned for the band to fill Burton's spot. Newsted learned Metallica's entire setlist after the audition. Metallica invited him to Tommy Joints in San Francisco. Ultimately, Jason Newsted got the gig.
Okay.
And together they put out an album called And Justice for All, which is famous for... There's some good tunes on there.
Yeah.
But I think it's mainly famous, especially for fans, because there's no bass on it. Now, there is, but for whatever reason, they mixed the bass so low that if you listen to the original version of the album, it's like there's no bass on it. Yeah. Now, the version we're listening to is the remastered version, and I don't know if the bass is better on that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you listen to the original recording of this, like Mike's brother Kieran did a video of him doing a bass cover of, I think it was one from this album, and he sat there with his bass, and then the track starts, and he just picks up a bowl of cereal and just eats a bowl. Yeah, so that's kind of what it's known for. There are popular songs on this album, like the song One, which had a very popular music video about war. But I've gone with the song Blackened, which again is the album opener. So this is Blackened from
what a name.
And Justice for All. Sounds like this. So I'm going to jump on over to YouTube because I've just typed up Blackened with bass, and somebody's done a remixed with bass version of it, so you can hear what that song should sound like.
Okay.
But do you know what I mean about the bass just not being there?
It's so empty.
Yeah, and
it's
that's
so empty.
That's the remastered version.
That's wild.
So here's what I think Blackened should have sounded like. Fucking astonishing how much better it sounds, right? So, yeah, it's something that they've never fixed.
Yeah.
Just outrageous how bad the production is on that.
I'm not nuts about the melody choices for James Hetfield.
Okay.
It's all very like same.
Yep.
And a couple of times they've doubled his vocals when he's been out of tune, and I'm like, listen, it's a different genre, and I realise that vocal perfection is not really asked from any genre, but it's certainly not asked for in this genre. But, you know, I'm a little... Because he's capable, because he a couple of times was like, like, there's like a little...
Yeah, but accidental genius is not genius.
It was certainly not genius. Yeah.
So
the start of that song was cool as fuck. Like the soundscape that comes in. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's wild because they received their first Grammy nomination for And Justice for All in the Best Hard Rock and Metal Performance Vocal or Instrument category, and they were the favourite to win, but they didn't. Jethro Tull beat them, and it's like, why should this have been nominated for anything? Because it sounds awful, and this is the remastered version.
The remastered, it's so empty. It sounds like there's two guys in the room.
Yeah.
And you can hear the room, which is also an issue, because like there's nothing wrong with keeping room noise in your recordings. It can add a lot of great qualities. But if you're adding the room noise into a song that is that fucking empty, it just means you picture it in your brain. Your brain does the confabulation of going, there's two guys in a room, isn't it?
Yeah. A shame, because I think, like, for me, there's good thrash on the album. Mm-hmm. There really is, like, riff-wise, like, in the way the music should feel. Mm-hmm. There's potential for it. You hear it and you're like, oh, this will be great live, right? Because they fucked the album. For me, this is the last time Metallica would be good.
Damn.
Which is, and I find it wild that Metallica still have a career after releasing Load, and then Reload, and then Garage Inc., and then Saint Anger. Like, if any other band released that many albums that were just the opposite of what people wanted to listen to, you wouldn't get the opportunity to do another one.
It's nostalgia and it's legacy, though, isn't it?
But no, because fans hated them all along the way.
Their fans hated them.
All along the way for all that period, and you're going to hear it, and you'll go...
But why do they still get booked, then?
Because, you know, the good old days. They
That's
did
what I mean,
Master of
nostalgia.
Puppets. They did Master of Puppets. I've actually only seen Metallica live once, and it was in 2003.
Right.
My, how the years go by. It was
When you were just a baby.
Yeah, it was a Download Festival, and it's a great one because they were headlining the Download Festival.
Right.
But on the day of the concert, Lars Ulrich was ill, so he couldn't play.
So it was just James Hetfield.
No, so they had a couple of drummers depped for them, but the main one was Joey Jordison of the band Slipknot. So I saw Metallica play without the shit member.
Wow, I bet you that would have been quite cool.
And, Joey stepped in and was like, oh yeah, I'm happy to do this, but like obviously I can only play the songs I know. Can't play the new stuff. Can't play any of the new music. Can't play, Saint Anger or stuff from Load, but we can do, basically all of Master of Puppets. We can do all the early stuff.
That sounds like a best case scenario, frankly.
Yeah, so I've had the opportunity to see them since, but I quite like the idea that I've seen Metallica, but I've never seen Lars Ulrich. You know what I mean?
He does seem like a bit of a bail end, if I'm honest.
Yeah. But such is life. Right, so let's talk about the big one, Victoria's favourite album.
Victoria.
Yeah. So the next album was self-titled. It's called Metallica, but more commonly known as the Black Album. It was remixed 3 times, cost $1 million. Yeah, and ended Hammett and Ulrich's marriages.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Let it die, Christ.
It's very, very, very commercial.
Okay.
Well,
I don't remember.
Let me rephrase that. They very, very, very clearly worked out what sells.
Oh, God.
They're still metal. Still a metal band. But they've worked out how to maximise your...
So was it commercial for a metal band, or did it find its way into more commercial...
Commercial for a metal band.
Okay.
But, it's got Enter Sandman on it.
Is that the one that's... Da-na-na-na-na? Okay.
Yeah.
I know that
super
one.
Super commercial, But instead, I'm going to play the song Sad But True. So, how does this one go, Mel, again?
Sad but true, sad but true.
When you listen back to that, you actually weren't far off of the delivery of the first Sad but True. Very good. Yes, this is Sad but True. I picked this one because this is a heavier sounding one on the album. It's got a heavy riff on it.
Okay.
But I'm also going to play Nothing Else Matters, which you may have heard. You heard?
Hell, nothing else matters. I do know that one.
Okay, yeah. So again, commercial bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
So we won't listen to that. All right. So this is Sad but True from the self-titled 5th album. We'll stop before the guitar solo. So you laughed a lot during that.
Apart from the riff, which I'll give them.
Cool riff, yeah.
The rest of it,
Yeah.
compost heap. The fucking vocals in this song, it sounds like James Hetfield someone's went into the studio to someone and went, listen, we need you to do a parody of a metal band. It's for fucking Saturday Night Live. So if you could just make fun of people who
keep going. Yeah.
You've got to. We want you to sing like you're making fun of people who sing metal.
Right.
It's fucking dreadful. It's literal cat shit. Don't. And it's also the doubling of vocals when one of your vocals is out of tune, and the one that you've layered on top of it is also out of tune, but only just a slight fraction out of tune with the other one.
Just, meet in the middle.
Oh! It's the fucking audacity of being like, I'm going to put melisma where it does not belong as a way of being like, ho, ho! Like, no. No. It's fucking dreadful. It's dreadful.
But you can see why I'd say that's their most commercial album.
No. Sure. It's easy listening metal.
Easy listen if you want Mel to have a conniption.
Honestly.
She's just sat there going...
There were several points of that where it was just like, heh, like, give me a word. Any word. Give me a word.
Napster.
Napster. He's just like, Napster. It's the... It's like, what are you doing? again? It sounds like you're trying to fucking bring something back up again. I've never heard the like.
Oh. Well, there we go. So Melisa really doesn't like Metallica's self-titled album.
I don't like that track.
They're all like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like that track. I don't like his delivery at all.
Yeah.
I think the riff's great, but if I want to hear someone upchuck, I'll just,
there are tracks on this album that I like. You know, Wherever I May Roam is a good tune.
Whoever I am,
You're not far off. Don't Tread on Me.
Giacamo.
Yeah. Of Wolf and Man.
Oh, the man. I'd love to hear him do like
Tender Ballad.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, we are going to hear him singing some Thin Lizzy soon, so. So I've actually stopped at the Saint Anger album. I don't go past that, but we could go, where they did the album with Lou Reed.
Absolutely fucking not. I have a
How dare you insult this man? Did you not know? He is the table.
That makes me sad because I fucking love all of those references from Botchamania. They make me laugh so much. But the fact of the matter is, I'm being really unkind. It's just that one track. I'm sure there's other things in there to recommend them. But that felt like a joke to me. That felt like
You'll have to put something on screen there because I accidentally clicked and brought up an image.
What did you bring up?
My books.
I'll find a good image.
No, it wasn't that. I'll find it. What was it? It was that.
that is you. That's the worst kind of advertising.
Yeah, fuck it. Keep it in there.
No, I won't. I'm going to come up with a really great image to put in there.
Okay, fine. I like I say, I don't hate the album, but it's just not the Metallica I want to hear.
Again, I don't hate Metallica. That track was not for me.
Yeah.
The vocals on it, really.
Okay, so after almost 3 years of touring to promote Metallica, including a headline performance at Woodstock 94, Metallica returned to the studio to write and record its 6th studio album. Band went on a brief hiatus in the summer of 95, played a short tour, blah, 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 blah. This comes towards the album called Load, which is actually, that's like the shortened form. Like the album Metallica we call the Black Album, Load is short for Load of Shite.
It's obviously not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not, but it is. But it debuted in number 1. Essentially, oh my God, I've just read something horrific. It's the band's second number 1 album, the cover art, Blood and Semen 3, was created by Andrea Serrano, who pressed a mixture of his own semen and blood between sheets of plexiglass.
Some people just be given money for stupid shit.
Yeah.
Some people shouldn't. Some people, if they lived in a
I'd
different
do that
country,
for free. That's a good Friday night for me.
I would have a restraining order. If I came home and you're just pressing your own blood and semen between plexiglass, I'd pick Brover up and silently leave.
What about if it was just between my hands?
That's worse. That's
Okay.
so much worse.
Is it?
Like,
I'm just doing it between random pages of books. If you go and look at your favourite copy of Dracula, you can't read page 42 anymore.
absolutely not. I would burn the house to the ground. I would burn the house down. I would burn the fucking house down.
Do you need a minute? We'll give Mel a minute. do 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 do
I thought you were like do 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 do
No.
do.
Right, you back with us now?
Oh dear.
Is she back in the room?
Yeah.
Okay. The release saw another change in the band's musical direction. And a new image, which include a revamped logo and the band members having their hair cut. While Load was a commercial success, the band's change in style had polarised their fan base. Metallica headlined Alternative Rock Festival, Lollapalooza.
Oh.
During this period, right, they sound like an alt rock band.
Oh, okay.
Or
Like Smashing Pumpkins.
maybe not that bad. But it's grungy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grunge was a big thing at this point, though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Which again is like, oh, so we just follow the trends, yeah? We just go with what the...
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. So we're going to listen to the track Until It Sleeps from Load of Shite.
Okay.
Sounds like this. How's that?
Da 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 da
Oh, you liked it then?
No, I hated it. I hated it so much. I hated it so much.
Why? What's wrong with it?
What are you doing? The tone of your bass makes your bass sound like a goose farting in the
That's
fog.
a fretless.
It's dreadful. It's dreadful.
Just remember, this is the band that did Creeping Death.
Yeah.
And Battery.
You basically went from being like this cool as fuck, like sort of punky, sort of everything, like coolness, into fucking, oh, my feelings count, but it's okay, 'cause I'm gonna do the at the chorus. Like, no. Take off your fucking leather trousers and behave. I don't like this.
I think it's fair to say, guys, Melissa doesn't really like Metallica.
Do you know what it is? It's just like I'm never going to like give anyone. It's weird because I talked about it a little bit with sleep talking reaction. I'm never going to give anyone shit about being commercial after doing something else for a while and choosing to do something that might get them more followers or might get them more whatever, because at the end of the day, it's your fucking music. You get to decide, and fuck everybody else and what they think.
That's true.
And if people want to call you a sellout and all the rest of it, fuck those people too. Like, you make your decisions. But I don't know, there's something just a little bit more chewy around people who build their sound in clearly a very caring, orchestrated way, who go from making things that they really care about to this. Because it's like, did you fall out of love with the art you were making and then you were too lazy to go and find another way? Or did you shelve something you really cared about for the sake of this?
So I will say it does feel like you can't win. Because the criticism that I'll levy at Malmsteen is that he's made the same album just with worse production 20 times. You know? There's no artistic development there. He's not grown in any way, shape or form. Compliment to Metallica in the sense that what you are hearing here, they've been going for like nearly 50 years. Yeah. You know?
But, sorry, I'm interrupting.
What you're seeing is a group of boys become men, then become middle-aged men, and now old men, and you're seeing change there. You are seeing change. Yeah. I think they've probably mellowed out a lot at this point, not as much piss and vinegar. Maybe hard to make thrash music when suddenly you're all millionaires. That's
also a thing, and I for sure, I don't think there's anything wrong with moving with the times as well, because I would say one of the things that I would levy at Stevie Wonder for surezies is there came a point where he just stopped moving with the times, and someone as musically brilliant as Stevie should absolutely be able to find ways to do that, to move with the times, to listen to new music and go, oh no, I can make new music. And that in itself, there's nothing wrong with that. This doesn't feel like that though, or at least I'm only getting a snapshot of a lot of these things.
To me, it's trend chasing.
Trend chasing, and the thing is, you know,
because Opeth have changed their sound a lot over the years.
Sure.
But it never feels like they've trend chased.
Yeah.
They've just made the music that Michael wants to make.
Yeah.
At no point of Opeth don't have the pop album, you know.
Well, it's like Tom Waits. I've always said the same thing about Tom Waits. He started making jazz, then he made blues, then he made art, where nothing mattered. And a couple of points in there, he made industrial fucking music. And at no point did he choose to chase any trend. At any point, not even at the start of his career. And for that reason, his music is kind of timeless in that respect. But unfortunately, that Until It Sleeps, that won't be timeless. That's a snapshot of 90s grunge, which was very popular then. And then things moved on.
Right. Yeah. So during the early production of the album, the band had recorded enough material to fill a double album. It was decided that half of the songs were to be released. The band would continue to work on the remaining songs and release them the following year. This resulted in the follow-up album titled Reload. So they did Load and Reload.
Of course.
Which, again, much like Load was short for Load of Shite, Reload is actually short for something. Reload is short for I heard Load, tried to kill myself but missed, so I'm going to reload and try again.
Or reload my potato gun, which is all I'm good for.
Yep, it could be that. The cover art, again, created by Serrano, this time using a mixture of blood and urine.
What is this guy's fucking problem?
Yeah.
Some people will do anything apart from go to therapy. Go to therapy.
Yeah. I do my blood and semen in your Dracula book, but the blood and urine is in your sock drawer.
How dare you? My beautiful sock drawer.
Yeah. Outrageous. So Reload 2 debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, reached number 2 in the top Canadian charts. Hetfield said in 2004 in the documentary film Some Kind of Monster that the band initially thought that some of the songs on the albums were of average quality. These were polished and reworked until judged releasable. Because that's what all good art is.
Releasable? What does that even mean? Like, oh, this is okay now. It's releasable.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I will point out, I'll say this, right? I'm playing the hits from these albums as well.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to listen to the song The Memory Remains, which, again, much like Load and Reload, was actually short for The Memory Remains of when Metallica were good, but is quickly fading.
Ouch, 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 ouch.
Okay. Sounds like this. But you have to wonder...
Why we're listening to it?
Very good. Now, you have to wonder if the reason they're still around is because they follow trends. Because they're the old guys at this point.
Yeah,
And there's young bands coming out doing things that the kids love. You could continue to make the old music that people don't want to listen to anymore, or you could do this and remain relevant.
Again, no shade, no tea. You want to make trend stuff? Fine. Madonna has done it her entire career. But the one thing you can say about Madonna is that when she did chase trends, she accepted it. She fully was like, I am a trend, well, to be fair, she was a trendsetter. But when she did it to a really high quality, and she committed fully. When she did things like Frozen, she looked like a fucking crazy banshee making that music. When she did the country stuff that was really just sort of R&B poppy, but she still committed to the idea of it. When she did the disco album, she committed to the disco album. It's just like, the problem with it is they're still trying to sound like themselves. They're not fully committing to the trend, and therefore you just get this weird bland in between spaghetti mixed with hot dogs. No. Again, if you're a big fan, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shit on your day. Because like the early stuff, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, it got worse.
Oh god.
In 1998, Metallica compiled a double album of cover songs titled Garage Inc. The first disc contained newly recorded covers of songs by Diamond Head, Killing Joke, The Misfits, Thin Lizzy, Merciful Fate, Black Sabbath,
dare you,
and others. And the second disc featured the original version of the 598 EP Garage Days Revisited, which has become a scarce collector's item. So, yeah, this record has Sabbath's Sabracadabra on it.
Sabracadabra?
And Merciful Fate by Merciful Fate. So, King Diamond.
How dare he?
Yeah.
How dare he?
But we're going to be listening to Whiskey in the Jar.
Oh, fucking hell. You wouldn't have picked literally every shit band I've had the displeasure of having to listen to in venues and elsewhere play Whiskey in the Jar, and it's always dreadful.
Well, maybe this will be really good.
Maybe this will turn the tide.
Maybe you'll really enjoy this. Can I be your daddy-o? That looks really funny on the screen there.
Fantastic!
Carry on.
You gotta get it right. I have a very strange relationship with Thin Lizzy. It was a very favourite band of a good friend of mine who passed away about 8 to 10 years ago. And we used to go to Ireland every sort of 3 months because you got really cheap tickets to go to Ireland. And we would always go and look at the Phil Lynott, or Phil Lynott, I always get it wrong. We would always go and look at the statue because there was a pub right next door to it that was a fucking great pub, like a proper like Irish pub. And or was it around the corner? I can't remember, it was too long ago. Point being is, it's really hard for me to listen to that and not shit on it, because not only is it one of those songs that a lot of like jam bands play at bad venues, but also I'm just like, if it's not Thin Lizzy, give me Thin Lizzy or give me death. Give me Phil or give me death. And yeah, it's not the most offensive as I thought it was going to be the
Okay, it's pretty generic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't taken anything from the next album because the next album was a live album. Should bopped his head on the microphone. A live album called S&M, which is a symphony in Metallica. So they did
have an orchestra.
Yeah, Michael Kamen came in and did an orchestral thing with them.
Natch.
It's pretty epic sounding, but it's that same thing. It's like you're taking away all the thrash from the band.
Yeah, but that's which is crazy because that's the thing that made them. Made them exciting and feverish and
Yeah. But here's where things get interesting. This is just like a side quest, if you like. I know you often call it a side quest.
Side quest.
In 2000, Metallica discovered that a demo of its song I Disappear, which was supposed to be released in combination with Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack, was receiving radio airplay. Tracing the source of the leak, the band found the file on the Napster peer-to-peer file-sharing network and also found the band's entire catalogue was freely available. Metallica filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court, Central District of California, alleging that Napster violated 3 areas of the law: copyright infringement, unlawful use of digital audio interface device, and the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. This was a big thing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you remember it, hearing about it in the 2000s.
I do remember the Napster controversy.
Let's see if we can...
and how people hailed Napster as the downfall of...
well, industry people did.
Yeah.
But fans of music didn't.
Oh, no, fans of music can give a fuck.
But anyway, last track.
Yeah.
So, this is Saint Anger, the record Saint Anger. Another dog shit Metallica album.
Oh, dear.
This is the first one with Rob Trujillo in the band.
Mm-hmm. How low is his bass?
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool. But unfortunately, with this album, the snare drum sounds like a biscuit tin. There's no guitar solos on the album, which,
that sounds good to me.
For a Metallica, but for a Metallica fan, you're like, where are the guitar solos? And Lars said that it was Kurt's idea to not have guitar solos on the album, but literally in the Some Kind of Monster documentary, Lars is telling them no solos we're not going to have solos on the album. And it's just that commercial thing, isn't it? It's like, it's 2003, I think. Is that right? Let's have a check. Yeah, 2003. People don't put guitar solos in songs anymore, and we've got to do what people do. We don't make the music people want. We've got to do what's trendy. The worst.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah. So we're going to finish up by listening to "Frantic" from Saint Anger.
Okay.
So it sounds like this. I'm not playing any more than that.
No, it's so bad. The snare is so distracting. Like, it's hard to focus in on anything because all you're getting is hit right in the middle of the mix with this fucking just biscuit tin, a biscuit tin. Also, you can hear in that James Hetfield has obviously sustained some amount of damage. He's obviously aged as well, and he's now closing up his voice and his throat in order to create the distortion that obviously doesn't live naturally in his voice. And if there's one thing that'll fuck you up faster is if you're trying to affect something that doesn't live in your voice naturally, if you're forcing it through a closed voice, you're gonna pay so quickly. No, that wasn't even an idea there. There wasn't even I can't imagine how hard it must be. In fact, you're not getting sympathy from me, but if you're a millionaire who's lost touch with the original ideas and sparks of passion that you had at the start of your career, I can't imagine how complex it must be to try and find things to create and be excited by. But you're also a millionaire. Like, go see the world, go talk to people, go find some ideas. Ideas are out there, you just have to consume enough life. What is this? Bargains imprisoning me.
This is a reworking of Metallica lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's who James Hetfield is.
Yes, it's quite sad. I wonder if there was a universe we could do it where young James Hetfield, that was so full of fire and passion and grunge, could come and meet this pompous, overstuffed turkey and be like, who the fuck are you, guy? Because if there's one thing that you should, as a creative, you should be able to say, is that if the younger version of you met you now, they would go, this is cool, I'm really proud of you. If the younger version of you would look at what you're doing and go, what the fuck is this guy? You fucked up.
Yeah. I haven't listened to Metallica after that point.
I would have stopped listening long ago.
Well, I stuck to my guns. I said that a band can't consistently release that many bad albums and be given another chance. And it's a shame because the album that comes after this is called Death Magnetic. Right. And by all accounts, it's a return to the thrash roots. I'll take your word for it.
Late.
Take your word for it. I'm not listening to it.
Yeah, too.
I'm not listening to it. I'm not buying it. I'm not pirating it. I'm not showing them any support. I don't like Metallica. I've never really, aside from those first few albums, which I think are really, really good, I think they are a cancerous
Jesus.
aspect of what it means to play music. It's what happens when the want to be successful overtakes the want to make art.
Yeah.
Because the band they are, or the band they became, is not the band that they started out as, and they don't. It doesn't feel like they represent the values of what they stood for. And I think of early Metallica and the people that would come and see them, versus late Metallica and the people that come and see them. The people that came and see them haven't changed. It's young guys in denim jackets with patches all over them, and metal. But actually, Metallica is James Hetfield in the Armani store.
And there's nothing like, again, you can have and do with your success what you wish.
Yes.
And if you choose to shop in Armani, you go forth, Barbara. That's your money that you've made. But I don't know. For me, again, it's all about the young, passionate version of yourself who chose to become a musician. And if you can hand on heart say that younger person would fuck with the music you're making now, awesome. But if you know in your heart they would go, old man, you have ruined who we were. How dare you? I don't believe that young James Hetfield would listen to some of that and go, oh man, you've really moved the sound forward. He'd go, get away from me, old man. You fucking pathetic piece of shit.
I would rather go and listen to Malmsteen albums than sit and listen to Metallica.
Here's the thing. So would I. And Fatty McFattenstein is on my hit list most of the time. Yeah. But I'd rather listen to Fatty.
But there we go. Relatively long episode of Does Metal Have Soul? But we really do hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know what you think about Metallica in the comment section below. Are there any gems that you think I could make Melisa listen to that would change her mind about Metallica?
I'm so sorry if you're a fan of Metallica. I'm so sorry, but that is how I feel.
But we'll be listening to Slayer next week. So
I predict great things. I
don't. So
Jesus.
Until next time.
Suck a bag of Richards. Hit the lights, do-do-do. Hit the lights, do-do-do. Hit the lights so we can kiss.
You're doing that. That's your prediction of what the song sounds like.
Yeah.